Hello, this video is to show you how to do a group by action in a spreadsheet. We're going to be using formulas to accomplish this task, and therefore this video is at the novice level. Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. So the data that I am summarizing here has to do with the percent of people uninsured. In particular, I need to compute the sum of the uninsured and divide by the sum of the number in the group for each of these different demographics. I want to do this across the three race categories. So race category 1 indicates white, 2 indicates black, and 3 indicates Hispanics. I have labeled each of the fields in this data table. So the uninsured you can see here is column J. The column I is number in group. Race category is column in F. Okay, so I did that under the named ranges inside of Google Sheets, and that allows me to provide a name for each of these fields. All right, let's go on to a new sheet now so that we don't put any information over our existing data table to compute these summaries. Okay, here you can see that I have a table started and I want to compute the percent uninsured for white, black, and Hispanics. I'm going to do this with the equal sum and then the ifs statement, IFS here. And what this is going to do is allow me to compute a sum by specifying a condition. If I have the plural version here, the IFS, that means I can use multiple conditions. Okay, so how does the SUMIFS statement work? The first thing I need to do is tell the function what you want to sum. And I'm going to sum uninsured here. Excuse me. So I'm going to sum uninsured. That is the column that I would like to total up. Next, I need to specify the condition. So my race category here is going to be set to a 1 for white. Now this is just going to compute the number of uninsured. I need to divide that quantity by the total number in the group. So let's continue here on with our function. So I need to take the numerator and then divide by, I'm going to do SUMIFS again, but now I'm going to specify number in group. That's what belongs in the denominator. Again, I'm going to obtain that number just for race category 1. Oh, I need to spell group right. There we go. And now we can see that it's about, what is that, 7.5% or so? Again, I can format my cells to a percent, so it's a little easier to read. And indeed, that's 7.52%. Now that's just for whites. If I take this formula and I copy it down, okay, I'm going to get the same result because I need to change this formula to indicate that I want the sum over black now. So I need to go into this formula and change that 1 to a 2, and then also change this one over here to a 2. Now that'll compute that quantity for black. That's at about 11.38%. I could copy that down again, and then I'd have to change the 2's to a 3 for Hispanics. But let me show you a shortcut here. So when I'm using this formula, instead of specifying a 1, what I'm going to do instead is just refer to cell A5, because cell A5 has a 1 in it. So I'm just going to refer to that cell. Again, the quantity 1 is sitting in cell A5. Now, when I copy that down, what's going to happen is that A5 is going to switch to an A6, which is the number I need for black. And if I keep copying it down, it'll go to A7 as well. So that will automatically update for the different races here. So if we check this formula here, indeed it's using cell A7, which is the quantity 3 here. This is using cell A6, which indicates black here. Okay, so those would be the percentages then for white, black, and Hispanic And we can see that Hispanics are nearly 20% rate of uninsured, whereas whites is around 7.5%. And blacks are at about 11.4%. Now, let's do a slight extension to this. Here, what I'd like to do instead is to obtain those rates for race, but also for states that have not adopted Medicare expansion versus those that have adopted Medicare expansion. Okay, so here, what do I need to do? Well, I need to specify the different races, again with the 1, 2, 3s, but I also need to specify the Medicare expansion variable. So here I'm going to use two conditions. I'm going to get the number uninsured, as you can see here, for the race category that's in cell E5. And then I want Medicare expansion to be no, and that is G4 here. And then I need to divide that by the number in group for race category 1 and Medicare expansion no. So that's what that formula looks like. So now that rate for those in the states without Medicare expansion is about 10.5%. Now, when I copy this to the right, okay, what I'm going to want is, this is still cell E5. So this is still for race 1. So what I'm going to do is put a $ in front of the E so that when I copy to the right, it doesn't switch to F, but it stays at E. But when I copy that formula down for black, I want it to switch to E6 and E7. So I'm not going to put a $ in front of the 5. I'm going to leave that $ off. So this is referring to something called absolute cell referencing versus relative cell referencing. When I use the $, that is called absolute cell referencing, and without the $, that would be relative cell referencing. Now, when I copy down over here, okay, so let's suppose that I copy down here, this is still for the no category. Okay, so when I copy down, I want to make sure that the 4th row, because the 4th row contains Medicare expansion no or yes in it. So I'm putting the $ in front of the 4 here and not in front of the G. Because again, when I copy to the right, I want to switch to Medicare expansion yes. So just take a minute. You can actually Google or look up on the internet the idea of absolute cell referencing versus relative cell referencing, but this is the formula that's going to work for me. If I copy that over to the right, I can see that for those states that have Medicare expansion, the uninsured rate for whites is under 6%. And then I can highlight both of those cells and copy this down, and that is going to give it the percentages for the other races. Again, this column here for states without Medicare expansion and this column with states with Medicare expansion. You can see states that have Medicare expansion have substantially lower uninsured rates. And again, that's part of that program, is to try to get more people insured. So that makes sense. Okay, that does it then for showing you how to do the group by action in a spreadsheet using formulas. Thank you.